Oh my god.
Artemis is just like, Auntie Rochelle's back.
Chaos already. Already chaos.
Welcome to the live show. This is going to be an interesting one.
Really is.
But yes, hello and welcome. Today we're going to be We're going to be discussing This is How You Lose the Time War by Amal, El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. Welcome, welcome. Just quick housekeeping. We're going to start with a non-spoiler section. So if you haven't read or finished the book, then you're welcome to stay. And then we'll dive into spoilers a little bit down the track as well. But let us know what you thought, what you rated the book if you've read it. If not, do you plan on reading it? And let's go around the room and say what we each rated it and what we thought about it. Just briefly. So, Rochelle, so far.
Because I think the book club first, I did not finish the book in time. I am page 134 at the moment, so I've only got about 60 pages left. I'm enjoying it. It's a little weird, but not dissociative weird. Like, I can get down with the weirdness. At the moment, I'm 3.5 to 4 stars, depending on how it finishes.
Okay.
All right, who's next?
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I was very confused. I read it. I read it in 1 hour, so I just kind of inhaled it and flew through very quickly. I know what was going on, but for the most part, I was just kind of like, nothing really stuck out to grab me to make me want to continue paying attention. I feel like nothing stuck. I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Well, I'm sure we'll inform you.
We will let you know.
Thank you.
Oh, good.
Sophia, what did you think?
Okay. I gave this one a 4. So I did this on audio. I didn't do it as a physical book. So I had 2 narrators and it was really good. I loved it. It was also just the parts that I think people found confusing, I enjoyed, because I was like, I don't need to actually know everything. Just I'm just going to go along for the ride. And that's what I did. So, yep, that's me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm about the same. I'm sitting at about a 3.5 to 4 stars. Still haven't decided, but I think I'm leaning more towards the 4-star range. It definitely was weird and confusing, but like you said, it was kind of like not everything's explained and it wasn't supposed to. So I was just took everything as it was, accepted it, and didn't think too hard about it. Otherwise, I just would have been super confused.
Yeah, but if you think about it too hard, it's like...
Yeah, but I did quite like that some things were ambiguous or abstract. I enjoyed that fact. So, I really enjoyed it. And I read it.
No things. Oops, sorry, after you.
No, I was just going to say, I read it in one sitting yesterday as well. I flew through it. And I think that helped
in your
as well.
mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I read it 2 months ago.
I think I read it while I was moving house, but that probably didn't help either.
Yeah, that would have. Chaotic time.
My brain was not computing.
Your brain was focused on other things.
I'm surprised I still have a brain, to be honest.
Oh my goodness.
So.
I guess non-spoilery stuff we can talk about is, I guess, I really liked the structure of it. I liked the fact that it was a novella rather than a novel, because I think someone brought this up in our Sydney meet where it's if it had been a novel, they thought that it would just been too hard to read, or it just been dragged out way too long. I liked the pacing of it. I liked the poetic kind of nature of the book as well. And how there are just so many different layers within it and so many different references and things like that, and how it's kind of quirky and funny as well. But yeah, I think it definitely worked best as a novella format, because if it was any longer, I think it would have just been hella confusing, as well as just people would have stopped paying attention. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I agree. And I liked that obviously we're split between the two characters getting their perspectives, but I like that we went from a letter, then a scene from one of their points of views with like a tidbit of the stuff that they're doing in their work with their agency, but it's more so kind of setting up for the next letter that they received and how they received it, which was always very weird and unexpected.
I loved how they received the letters. It was just so fascinating.
It was so wild and wacky, but I really liked it, and it was quite poetic as well. I found it was very interesting.
Yeah, like especially I think Pip brought up the one where the letter was in the tree and had to wait like 100 years, like the tree to like it was just like in the rings of the tree. Like it was just so cool. Like I really loved that, and like how they're in like berries and all these kinds of things. It was so fascinating.
Yeah, it was never like I could never guess how the next letter was going to show up, and that like was really interesting for me because normally I can pick those kinds of things like. But yeah, it's been really interesting, like with the letters showing up inside of animals as well. That was just like how did you engineer
really
that?
Interesting. How did that happen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's, of course, one of those things that it's like it doesn't quite make sense how a lot of the letters were read. But again, it's one of those things that it was never explained. It didn't need to be explained. You just accepted that she got stung by a bee and read a letter, and that's how she read a letter. It was
that's how it happened.
Read a letter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I did like how how it kind of started because like they're both like agents with completely different agencies and they're both very good at their job, and obviously like they intersect and it's like, I see you. I know what's happening here. Let's now kind of like let's just correspond with like mock threats of killing you. Yeah. I did like that. I liked the banter and I liked how it developed. Yeah.
I agree. I really liked how the relationship started out. Obviously, their opposition, but it was like a professional respect. Like they could admire and respect the work that the other was doing. And the way that developed into something more was really, really great to follow along with. I liked that.
Yeah, I liked that their relationship essentially began because they were challenging each other and they were like, you're the only one that is like on my level. Everyone else bores me, but you know what you're doing. Yeah, it was it was nice to have that like power dynamic included as well.
Yeah. There wasn't like I felt like there was not too much detail like involved in terms of like what their agencies were. So it's like you just like have these two different people working on different timelines, trying to create like the better future for each of their agencies. And like we don't get too much about the agencies. I know that like Kaz, I think you said like one was like was it you Kaz or someone else said like one's like really like nature, like all about like
so the
garden
kind of
stuff.
Very
the garden
growth.
And the other guys. Yeah,
I was just going to say like nature based and like about what was it? How did I describe it yesterday? I
don't remember. That's why I'm like, Kaz.
I don't remember what I said, but I'm trying to reform the words. But I like the comparison between the two. So we have the garden, which is very nature based and more about getting to the root of it and like creating roots deep within the timeline, and it's much slower and long form, I guess. And then the other one's more kind of like mechanical and skimming on the surface of the timeline and making a quick change and then departing again.
Yeah, I got from the nature one, I got very much like a cultivating a bonsai kind of vibe. You work for many, many years to grow this thing and then it's perfect.
Exactly.
Just what you want it to be. Whereas Red, I got the vibe that it was very sci-fi, quick, hard changes, just snapping it to a different timeline rather than like digging a trench to redirect a river was more the nature path.
Yeah, and especially because Blue at one stage marries someone and has a husband, and obviously that's a very long-term thing. But she was talking about how I married this person and the effect that I have on them is going to affect someone else that they know, which is then going to do this, and then it's like a rolling effect.
I like that part. Yeah.
And how it's not, and it's often not a direct change to the one thing that obviously they're wanting to change. They have to take quite a few steps back and insert themselves.
It's like micro versus macro decision making.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's just so much to like think about.
There's so much to unpack for such a small book. Like such a tiny. Like
there's so much philosophy in it that I was not expecting.
Yeah, there was so much, and I'm still trying to just decipher things. Like even though it's been like 2 months, I'm still trying to figure out. So there's all these different layers, so many different layers to it, and you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's definitely a book that sits with you, and like a year later, when you deal with a certain circumstance or scenario, you'll be like, oh, that's what they were getting at in that section.
It's like, oh wait, I understand now. After like 5 years. Literally.
I didn't have as much as I wanted, but I'm just having a look through to see if there's anything interesting that I can.
I love Pierre's contribution. Is just patting the cat.
Like I said, it just made no sense. Oh, she got into a fight with the dog last night, so she's very clingy at the moment.
Oh no!
She killed him. She beat him to death. Yeah, no, she was not the problem. Yeah, it's a 45-kilo dog that's quivering in his bed right now.
Mom, look at me. I did so
She's like,
well.
Are you proud of me? Oh, mate, I wish you could have seen it. Worst thing I've ever seen in my life. No, well, like I said, like a lot of it, I think because I read it so fast, I probably did skim a lot of the stuff that wasn't making sense to me. And I think for me, because it was so short and not just taking into consideration that it was supposed to be like that, I was like, it's so quick. The insta love is so real. And it just like I couldn't appreciate the craft in the book because I was so busy stuck in my ways, being like, I just need to get this done, so I've got it done, and I don't actually really care about it. But I did, like when Kaz mentioned the marrying of the husband to affect like the cousin's dentist or something, I was like, I liked that, and I liked the little throws to history as well, because some of it obviously you can see. I think there was like a bit about the Myrmidons and there was like some stuff like the Huns and all that sort of stuff, and I was like, that interests me. But then it was also hard to imagine. Like I didn't know what anybody looked like. I'm pretty sure one of them was a cyborg, and I just couldn't compute with my brain. I was like, oh, what are these people? And then again with the like, you guys pretty much covered it all, which is why I've been so quiet. Like, how do you eat a berry and read a letter? And then obviously like the twist, I was like, oh, the spoiler section at that point, so I'll leave that for later.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
another
totally
thing I liked, mild change of topic. Another thing I liked was the different ways that they referred to each other. Like obviously finding different things to do with blue and different things to do with red. Like dearest blue dubba D, dearest 0000FF. I really appreciated all the different ways that they, and
that they like call each other,
and I think obviously nods to the fact that in their own timelines, when they're going about their lives and their jobs, they're seeing each other's work there, and there's a lot that they are reminded of each other, and I think it points to how consumed they were with thinking about the other person in the years between the time that they wrote these letters, because there was like many, in a lot of cases, many months if not years between, which was really
anyone else get like real Umbrella Academy vibes? I don't know why. I just finished watching the Umbrella Academy and I was getting really like
I definitely got the Umbrella Academy vibe.
The place that they work for with the time traveling and shit. I think I just finished season 2, and that's why
it's called the
agency.
I don't remember. Yeah,
it's something like that, like the con. I don't know. Anyway, but that's what I was thinking as soon as I had like turned off episode 4 and then just rolled over and started reading, and just been like, everyone has a briefcase.
Everyone has a briefcase so they can try and time travel with. Yes,
pretty much something like that.
Yeah,
my brain is so small; it has to like latch on to other things because I can't form a coherent thought.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely think that like we were talking about it in the Sydney meet, how like the time travel element was like done in a way where it's like it's a little bit confusing, but you're also not meant to think about it too hard. Like you just have to accept the fact that this is how they jump around in time, and this is how they're like manipulating timelines. So yeah, I just kind of like sat back and just let it happen. I was like, oh yeah, she is now in this decade. Yep, that's fine. I don't know how she did it, but that's where she is, and that's how she's doing.
Accept it, because it's not like about the time travel. That's not.
Yeah, the time travel is not the main focus at all.
Exactly. It's a nice little bonus and a bit of intrigue to their relationship and the love story.
Yeah, I liked that the letters also all ended up relating to something that they had previously discussed. Like when there was a point where Red mentioned that she had not tried a particular spice, and then the next letter came as a seed of that spice.
Yeah,
so it was encouraging about getting new experiences for the other party, which was just an interesting way of courtship as well. I would be down for that. If someone was like, oh, you told me you've never tried this thing before, here you go, I'd just be like, hell yes.
Exactly. And even like, again, the tree ring message, the fact that it would have taken centuries of work to like a century of work to do, like it was just so much time, it was so meticulous and well thought out. I really appreciated how much thought and consideration went into the way that they communicated. Really liked it.
Yeah, I also really liked that they kind of learned about each other from people that they both attempted to influence. Like there's one point where Red is with the Huns and Blue's letter ends with saying like, say hi to Genghis for me. We used to watch Clouds together when he was young. And so there was obviously that conversation later. It's mentioned that Red had conversations with Genghis about Blue and learned about who she was through him. And I thought that was also really interesting to incorporate as well.
Absolutely.
Shall we spoil the section?
I think, we might be safe hopping into the spoiler section next.
Yeah.
I'm just having a quick look through the comments. I think a lot of people agree that it was quite confusing, but also very beautifully written as well.
It was definitely beautifully written,
And someone mentioned this as well in our meet yesterday, but obviously there's two authors and it's split between like the authors, one wrote red, one wrote blue. So obviously there is differences and they are distinct, but I think their writing complemented each other really well and fit together. Like it didn't feel like two separate books. Yeah. So I think they did a really, like those two authors work really well together.
I think it's always so hard to get two writers to be able to write a work that, like you said, that where they complement each other really well.
It's cohesive.
Yeah, and it almost feels like it's like almost like one person wrote it. Like it's really.
I genuinely forgot it was two people for a long time. Yeah, I was like, this makes sense, and I'm not confused. And it's not. Complement is the perfect word for it. Like the amount of books that you've read that have two authors, and you can distinctively tell who's written what.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because someone was even saying that they thought that someone wrote the letters and the other author wrote the bits between, like the scenes between. But it was actually red and blue. That differentiation. So that was interesting as well. But I think it's just
mirrors real life. Sorry.
Huh?
They're two separate people writing
like
two
one
separate
writing
people.
to the other. Yeah.
I'd be interested to see like how the story developed, whether it was like, oh, do you want to collaborate on this thing? I'm gonna write one perspective, I'll send you my chapter, and then you write the other person, or whether they kind of like sat down and plotted out where they wanted it to go, or whether they kind of just let it grow organically.
I always love learning about writing experiences, but again, having two different people is even more interesting, and seeing how they worked together.
I liked that they obviously complemented each other, but at least to me, they still came off as distinct, because while the main plot thread was about the relationship between the two, there was plot that was happening purely for Red. There was plot that was happening purely for Blue. So there was like moments where they would come together, but moments where they were also entirely separate as well.
Yeah, exactly. Let me have a look through and see what else I liked.
Did you guys find it?
Oh, sorry. I was complaining about the fact that I wish that I annotated more heavily. What were you going to say?
I mean, I guess it kind of negates the point because it is supposed to be such a short book. But I mean, like, I'm a big fan of the slow burn, and I just wanted more slow burn. But then obviously you have so many pages to do it in. I think that's why I wasn't as super connected to it, because it did feel like, because it was so quick, and obviously we're set over so many centuries and decades of time. I just wanted, I don't know. I feel like I could have settled for a book that was like twice its length. And probably enjoyed it more, and then had like I like knowing everything. I like when everything is explained. Although, to be fair, as you said, Sophia, I didn't find myself questioning how the time travel worked. I was like, yeah, cool, this is how it is. But I think I wanted more from the characters. Like, I wanted more of the struggle, which is why I think the bit where obviously it all kind of came to that climax was my favorite part, because I was like, oh great, finally some drama and some angst and some stuff like that, as opposed to just we're just two boats sailing in the night. I liked a bit of drama.
It did get really dramatic towards the end. Oh, I actually pretty sure hasn't read the end.
It's fine. I'm gonna read it right after this. So
okay. I was just like, oh, okay. Well, because they essentially, like, when they find out that they've been corresponding, and there's this whole thing with Kaz, you'll have to remind me how it goes, but all I can remember is that, like, Red tells Blue, because Red tells Blue something about the berries, and not to eat the berries, but also not to read the letter, and it was all very confusing. I don't actually remember how it went, because
the agencies found out, and then we're like, well, we need to kill. You need to kill her.
Need to kill Blue.
Yeah, make contact with Blue, so we can entrap them and kill them, because they're wreaking havoc on all of our plans.
Yeah, it's like they're basically screwing up our timelines, and we need to fix that.
Yeah, you pretty much summarized it. Not gonna lie, the ending was the part that confused me the most, and I was like, am I getting it? Maybe I'll reread the ending again, because I was just kind of I was also half falling asleep at that stage as well. I needed a nap, so yeah, maybe my brain
that
was
could
just
be it.
Anyway. It was probably the fact that I was super sleepy.
And I'm over here like, this was the best part. Things were happening. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's like,
yeah,
I did enjoy the ending, but I think it got just even the descriptions of how Red was infiltrating the garden was like, I liked the climax part, and then all the stuff afterwards, I was like, yeah, I don't get what's happening now. So I was like, I'm enjoying this like espionage and die but don't really die, and eat the berry but don't really eat the berry, and then like when she's like infiltrating the garden, I was like, I don't know what's happening now. It made me feel very dumb. The whole book made me feel dumb. And then I'm like, well, you read big fantasy, so you're fine. I was like, yeah, but you can't understand this basic 300-page book. What's wrong with you? And I was like, well, leave me alone.
I mean, I was confused. I didn't get some things, and I had to always like kind of skip back on the audiobook to be like, I need to re-listen to that, because I literally have no idea what just happened. Redo, please. Yeah, but I definitely thought, like, when Blue started eating the berries, I was like, okay,
idiot.
I was like, okay, this is what's happening, and now I'm in pain. Great.
But it wasn't even like just the berries. It was literally the whole plant, thorns,
the entire plant. Like, she just literally just
Inhaled it.
Inhaled it.
Yeah.
Inhaled the plant. I was like, oh,
Girl
God.
doesn't do things in half. She's like full or nothing, all or nothing.
Yeah.
Commit.
All or nothing. Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about specifics of this so that you do have something to discover, Rochelle. But I was surprised by the Seeker. I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
I liked that though.
Yeah,
I liked
was
that, yeah.
revealed, I was like, yes, how did I not see this
No.
coming? I'm dumb.
Yeah, like it
I
makes
think-
sense
I
in the
didn't
end,
see
so much.
especially. It made sense, and especially when Red was trying to describe like any indicators about the Seeker, and like one of the scents, I think was linked at some point earlier in the book.
It's maple smoke and something.
Yes.
I literally just read that section
Oh, you
where
did?
they were
Okay,
describing
good.
the scent of the Seeker. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think with, did I make this up? Is there a point where Blue refers to Red as like maple leaf?
Yeah. It's one
okay.
of the earlier letters.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I was like,
How do you retain all of this? It went in one ear and out the other for me. I was like, yes, adorable. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
My brain has become so selective with books these days. Like half the books I read, I don't fucking remember. I don't know what's going on. My brain's like, you don't need this information, but I can tell you 7 ways to kill a dragon. So that's the
I'm
thing.
usually pretty forgetful, but I did read this, yes, in the entirety yesterday, so that helps.
Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a short book. Like I feel like we've unpacked 90% of it in 26 minutes.
But I feel like there's so much more that we could talk about.
Yeah, it's hard.
But I don't know how to talk about it. Like the whole fact with like just the fact that like the whole setting about it is like with a war, and like the fact that like there's this whole like philosophical thing where it's like, you know, they're both fighting for their agencies. They're both like doing the work for their agencies to like complete the task and essentially win the time war. But it's like then there's that whole question. It's like, what is the point of war?
What is the time
Can
war?
you actually win? Like, can you actually win a war? Like, how does that work? And it was just and then that whole like, you know, ideology of like, is war even something we should be even considering? Like, what is the point of it?
Yeah. My brain just went, let's win the time war again.
100%. Yeah.
Where is your brain?
That with their briefcases, eating plants. That's my brain. It's my like little TV visual. The briefcase and their plant. I don't know why, but the teacup scene is really sticking out in my brain. You know, where like she smashes the teacup, or she's like, the teacup is wrong. I don't know why that's in like that's the one thing that like my brain's like, keep that. You might need that one day.
Yeah, I thought there was.
Why?
I wasn't sure if that was like if I missed something with that, like about there being a smashed teacup. Like I thought that there was going to be something more like it was an intentional thing.
Yeah,
it
seemed really like we stayed on that a little bit longer. Yeah. No, I don't know. But that in my brain, that was all I could remember.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because the teacup was the vessel that held the message. So a combination of that tea and that teacup made the letter. So she was kind of like getting rid of the evidence by smashing one part of the message so that the other wasn't decipherable.
Pierre's face.
It's like old school code breaking. Like you would have a message and you had to have a particular book to be able to read the message. So she was getting rid of the ability to read the message for someone else.
I like it so much more now.
Yeah.
I like it so much more. I spent so many of my formative years pretending to be like a spy kid and like doing shit like that I should have just appreciated this book for its face value, but I didn't. I didn't realize. I am dumb.
Yeah.
You're not dumb.
It's definitely
dumb. I'm the dumbest of our little group here. Let's not lie. I am the dumbest of all of us.
No,
nothing
you asked me to write a 9-page script and I am fucked.
I cannot do anything.
Fictional. I am fictional. I am 2D on the page. I do not exist
2D. You're not real.
I wish. Good God.
Yeah. There's
Anyway,
I wanted to talk about like the whole thing with like food and what they ate. Wasn't that like, it was just so bizarre to me. And like, there's a part that's sticking out in my memory of like what during one of the letters where I think Blue is telling Red about like honey and like ricotta and something like that. Like, I don't
honey and
remember
cheese on warm bread in the shade.
Yeah, and I'm just like, just that descriptive, just like that, just imagery. I'm just like, fuck, that's so beautiful. And I'm just sat there listening to it in the car, like, I want to be sitting under the shade eating fucking honey and ricotta.
Do you love
bread?
Books?
So
I love food in
books is so good. Like,
and
man,
like,
I love
even your basic, like, it's a sad potato with warm meat, and like your your King Killer Chronicles early poor people book when folks is poor or whatever. I'm like, I love it. Like, I'm a potato.
Give me the food.
Yeah, and then when you get like your rich royals where they're like the decadent pig and applesauce and glaze, I'm like, I don't eat these things, but if I did, I'd
delicious.
be a happy person. Yeah.
But I'm hungry just reading it. Thank you.
100%. I want to go out and learn how to cook.
I think that would be a really interesting reading experience if there was like a novella that someone read ahead of time and made all of the little foods that came, like, were mentioned in that story and were just like given to you at certain points so you could eat them while they're encountering them. That would be love.
Now that is something that publishing should get behind. Publicity and marketing.
Find all the food. Make a cookbook. Let's do it. Let's all pick a favorite book and then go through and make a cookbook, a recipe book. Stop it! I'm so excited. Nobody steal that in the comments. If you're watching, don't steal that idea. We made it up first before anybody else ever. Just us alone.
You're right. That's it. I can steal that idea.
No one has ever thought this before.
No one has ever. It's totally original.
Totally original.
Thought of it
original content.
I kind of want to just make food from Skyrim now. Just thinking about Skyrim food. Anyway,
make me a sweet roll, please.
I would like a sweet roll. There's a recipe book. We should just buy it and make a sweet roll. Yes. That's what I want to do. That's all I
want hiking food where it's like you pick at the meat with your bare hands and you just eat a whole potato and you chug meat except it slips down your beard. I need to get a beard.
You need a beard. You need a beard.
A fake beard purely so that she can experience that.
I need a beard. Pronto.
I guarantee you.
We should go to Mjolnir.
Where that?
When those borders open up, three of us are coming down.
Yeah, Viking bar.
Viking restaurant.
That's exactly what I want, actually, Kaz. Thank you, yes. I watched that video again the other day. I sent it to you, didn't I? Hear that?
Yeah, you did.
That one.
We were cosplaying as Mia and Ash when we went out to dinner.
Well, that's right, yeah.
I it was a good time. I had fun. I actually ordered meat from that place.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had some last night.
We fit in really well because like all the waitresses had the corset, the what is it called?
Yeah, we
the corset down here, which we did as well. We just like fit in very well. It was great.
I mean, I did have that really shitty wig on, so that was. I mean, you probably could have lived without that next time.
It was very dark, and then no one would have really noticed.
Try eating steak with half of a wig in your mouth that is not real hair. What is the word I'm after?
Acrylic.
I don't know. My ADD just kicked in. It's just like I'm not here right now. I'm apparently associated like a madman. Hence the fucking
look at you just rolling this little roller on your face. You're just like,
I know. I bought it yesterday, and I just literally sit here and I just do this, and like it doesn't do anything. It doesn't feel good. It's just it's like a stim toy.
I was gonna say at least it must feel nice. It doesn't feel good.
I mean, it feels. I wouldn't say it's nice, but it feels. It's not cold anymore, so that's weird. It's warm and gross.
Warm stone.
Anyway,
rolling over your face.
Anyway,
beautiful.
Leave me alone. I'm struggling.
That's the wellness industry right there.
When we eventually get our fucking holiday off the ground and the borders don't keep like shutting and closing, we should definitely like each pick a day where we decide the food.
Oh my god!
Books.
Yes. Yes. Pick a meal.
Oh my god, best Christmas present idea ever. Let's do it. Let's all get our
Mhm.
favorite book, find all the food that we would want to get in there, make a recipe, put it together. We've all got a copy of this fantasy food recipe book. You can call me Big Daddy. That's my 2 cents. That's my contribution to today.
Okay.
Incredible. That's a beautiful.
I'm thinking
contribution.
Nevernight. I'm thinking blood wine. No, that's just disgusting. No one
I
would ever
made
do that.
Oh.
blood wine. Oh, not
You
wine.
did. I saw it.
I made blood milk
Really?
to drink for a
Oh.
video.
What?
It was
Oh.
chocolate milk with red dye.
okay.
Mia's morning routine or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Mm.
I watched that. I like my stomach went at the thought of like chocolate milk with red in it.
Oh yeah, because I tried to make it like in my teeth as well. Yeah, it was.
No, honey, that was not it. Video, love the video. Just worried for your stomach.
I survived. We're good. We're good.
She's fine. Yeah.
Still here.
She did.
One thing I did really enjoy about the book is how pervasive certain things are in history. Like, there's always
Yes.
Atlantis. That was
Atlantis.
so intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Atlantis.
There's always a what?
Atlanta.
There's always
Atlantis.
Atlantis. Like,
I thought you said
there is
scientist.
always
I
a
was like,
version of
yeah.
Atlantis.
yeah, or
Because there's
multiple.
Atlantis in the city we became. I think someone
Yeah.
like we talked about that.
This Atlantis was in the city we became as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I really like that.
But
And there
yeah.
was, I like those little tidbits about what does and doesn't exist in certain
Mhm.
timelines, and
Yeah.
how there was that one book that doesn't always exist, but when it does, it's the exact same, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of things would differ in small ways, but that just tidbit about this one particular book that when it does exist in the timelines, it doesn't differ was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
anything else as well, but I guess this kind of relates to the confusion about how the time travel worked, and well, it's like we don't
ambiguous. Imagine
Very
it yourself. Create it in your own brain.
I liked how it was described as well, as obviously each kind of timeline is a different strand, and then they go like upstream and downstream, or maybe it wasn't up something, down something, and then through the braid, which is I just like how it was described. But I don't understand how they time traveled, like what enabled them to do
what
this.
that is.
Yeah, is it them or do they use something? I have no idea. I'm just not going to question it, otherwise I'll have too many questions to function.
What would have worked? So wait, confirm for me, whenever they changed into a new timeline, they were able to alter how they looked? Did I make that up, or is that real?
I don't know.
Like, it's not me physically going into timelines. It's like my conscious in like a flesh vessel going into.
Red definitely had that vibe, but I think that was mostly because of her agency rather than that's how the time travel worked.
Well, I know that specifically the Commandant and the Garden were able to do that. Like, they appeared within the body of someone who existed in that timeline. It was never them specifically. But I know that there's, with Blue as well, it's mentioned that obviously she looks different throughout different points in time, but I wasn't sure if maybe that's got something to do with like when she I can't remember how they described it, but when every so often, like after a mission, the agents would then go back to the Garden and like become one with it. I was like, maybe
convalesce.
Yeah.
So
maybe
I kind of
like can change the whole physiology. I don't know. There's many things.
Yeah. In my brain, I was going like only just now, like more of like an altered carbon thing, I guess, when, you know, like how they've got the stacks and you can just put it into any body. And like they sit, like, I don't know what sci-fi movie I've seen it from, but like they have their physical body and then they go and like lay into a pod, and that pod then projects them into this new body in the timeline. I don't know. That's just how, apparently how it's working in my head.
Yeah. I don't know. I got the impression that it was always or usually physically them, but
yeah, maybe.
like the chain of command and messages were brought through. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like if we think about it too
was-
hard, we will continue to be confused.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like the
Red
more-
mentioned on several occasions that the majority of the agency stayed in the pods, but most of the the time travel agents are out of pod. So I don't think they're like projecting into people at that point. I think they might be engineered to fit into bodies.
It was interesting because I know that when she is brought to the commandant, and it's just like little things being like handing over the letter from the commandant. It's like they don't know how, like it was, they were holding the letter really hard, and they're like they physically don't know how to like manipulate this body yet.
So much. It's so much to unpack, and but
so little space.
So little brain space left.
I don't know what to say. I have no brain power. I can't. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah.
Should we just talk about next month then?
I would be interested to reread this book in a couple of years to see what I pick up on.
Yeah, I definitely think it has. Yeah, definite reread value. Just flipping through to see if there's anything else interesting that we can discuss.
Is it? No.
Up thread and down thread, not upstream. That's it.
Up thread, down thread. I kind of viewed it as like a giant tapestry, and they were just like hopping between the links.
I like just the way it was written. God, she climbs up thread and down. She braids and unbraids history's hair.
Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, it's beautiful. Sorry, I'm just reading this.
I like how we're all just like sitting here like I don't know what else to say.
I keep forgetting that it's like a live show and it's not just
There's more to talk about,
like normal.
but how?
Yeah, it's like where do we begin?
Like what do we step to next, and like will we lose something because of where we go?
Yeah. Maybe we shall reread and then talk about the next live show.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
none of our brains retained the information, so we had to read the book again.
to read it again. Yeah.
Take notes. Well, we haven't had our Brisbane meetup yet. That's tonight. So half of our points, like usually when we come in, we've got points from like what the other guys thought. But now we don't even have that. So it's just Rochelle and I did it. Rochelle carrying the team in Brisbane, and me just being like, I'm helping. How's your back?
You do
the weight of our team. Leave me in peace.
That's all right. It's just like I will put a point at the table, and then Pierre will go off on a rant for 5 minutes, and I'm like, yes, I have achieved my job.
I am the awkward entertainment court jester. You are the brains.
Great teamwork.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyone watching, if you have any other questions or thoughts, anything that you want us to discuss, definitely let us know before we wrap this up. Any other things that you can understand that we can also not understand together?
We can do our best to pretend to understand the thing.
Yeah. In the meantime, though, I was going to say, our book for October.
That's my girl.
We have decided. Should have announced by now, but it's fine. We're going to be reading A Deadly Education in October. It's so shiny.
The foil looks really good, actually.
This is our second Naomi-Novik book.
Oh,
I'm already concerned.
Spinning Silver.
When did we do Spinning Silver? When did we do it?
Oh,
early.
In our baby year.
First year?
When we became a Brisbane host, that's when we did it.
When was that?
October, like 2 years ago, I think. Like right before Jean had Amelia.
I'm not a huge Novik fan, so I'm nervous.
I also didn't love Spinning Silver, but I feel like this is like Spinning Silver.
I have higher hopes.
Like Spinning Silver and Uprooted are their own kind of thing. This feels like a departure from that, so I have high hopes. I'm really excited by the sound of it. So
yeah, I'm really looking forward to our next 2 books, I think. hopefully they will continue to carry strong.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Maybe we'll do read-alongs for this one as well.
Yeah.
What?
Do
Sorry?
read-alongs on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I need all the help I can get to read. I literally did not read a single book in September.
I was me last.
Nice.
I liked your live read-ins. I found that was really.
I do like them as well.
Jacob didn't understand it. He's like, so you just sit there and read together, even though you're on the internet? I was like, yeah, it's a thing.
It's a
Like,
thing.
It's an enjoyable thing. I'm sorry none of your friends read and enjoy quiet leisure time together. But no, I'd happily just like have you guys on screen and just sit in the corner and read for an hour. It's like a great time.
No.
Should definitely do that.
And especially when it's like the same book as well. You can be like, wait, which part do you want? Do you get this?
Like, oh my god, yeah. That's a great
Someone
idea.
please explain.
Please explain.
Please explain.
This is a really interesting way of visualizing it. Saw the timeline as a rope made of many strands that branched into a Y, with the agency on one side and the garden on the other, and the time agents trying to rearrange threads to strengthen one side. I think that's a nice.
That's
nice
a very
thing.
cool way of looking
like
at
that.
it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish my brain worked like that. My brain doesn't.
Brain no
That
work,
was a
head
very
empty.
good. Yeah, that is very good.
Good job, Jess.
I appreciate that a
Genius.
lot.
A genius.
Also, is that profile photo? Is that on like the Iron's phone?
I think so, yeah. Looks like it.
I love it.
Love
I think this also is a great descriptor.
Mm.
I feel like a lot of it worked kind of like hearing something in a foreign language where you kind of understand what's happening, but you couldn't translate if asked. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Big that. Big that.
That's a mood.
I've had that struggle a couple of times, literally just in this live show, being like, I know exactly what I mean, but how do I formulate this? How do I describe it? It's just tricky.
Yeah.
It's grasping at something that you understand subconsciously. Yeah. It's definitely like that.
That is so true.
The birds in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, yes. Much frustrated.
How stressed have you been recently? Have you been checking him obsessively again?
No, he's fine. He's just full of anxiety. The other one has started sneezing, so we're back to the vet on Wednesday.
I was gonna say
No.
sorry, Jess, I was gonna say it kind of looks like an iron throne at a golf course, because I know that there's Holy Moly in Sydney has one. And I was like, the lighting looks even like that, which is hilarious. Anyway, okay, back to birds.
Yeah, what is happening with your child?
Whose child is that? That's not mine.
Oh,
That Bucky one is mine.
That's not mine.
There's a possum downstairs.
Oh yeah. No, everyone's good. Like I said, the cats tag teamed Otto yesterday, and it was wild to watch. Very interesting that Artemis, the smallest of and most docile of all of my animals, is actually a cold-blooded killer. Like I would have her back me in a fight at anytime. She's insane. She's crazy.
Which is because she's so snuggly. She's so snuggly.
She did get like a little cut on her eyelid though, so I'm just cleaning that out for the day. Love that for me.
How'd the puppy recover? How's he doing after?
He's probably terrified for the rest of his life. Like I felt so bad because I was just trying to walk him through one door out the other door, and they've just decided to run at him as opposed to away, and so he's trying to like defend himself whilst not bite them because he knows he's not allowed to do that. And I'm just trying to throw myself in between them and kick the cats away whilst just screaming, just open mouth. Yeah. So they haven't seen each other this morning, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to navigate that. So sometimes, but we're taking him to the beach after this, so hopefully he can just calm down,
unwind, relax, de-stress.
Probably terrified. I just wish we could have seen it. It was just like they've been planning this for months. It was premeditated for sure. They were like, tonight's the night, just go full Burko.
Mom's defenses are down. We've been so well behaved. Quick, now is the time to ruin it all.
Don't get complacent. It's not worth it. My God. Anyway,
All right.
animals, big fan. Everyone should have at least 7.
No, thank you.
That's
2
a lot.
isn't enough for me.
2 is plenty.
Great. Well, I've got nothing else. You guys?
I have no brain. Head empty. Got nothing.
I'm ready to
Yeah.
nap again. Just wake up.
Oh.
No, I did a few hours ago, but
Excited
Yes.
for next month. This month, Deadly Education. It's not a big
Yeah.
book either, so that's a plus.
yes,
Yeah,
a
it's actually not that long.
nice book as well.
Can someone read the blurb at the back? For those of people who do not know what it is about. My book is too far away for me to grab.
Go,
Sorry,
Kaz.
Just reading.
What do you got, Katrina?
Katrina.
Katrina,
Interesting.
take it away.
Unlike any you have ever encountered, there are no teachers, no holidays, friendships are purely strategic, and the odds of survival are never equal. Once you're inside, there are only 2 ways out. You graduate or you die. Elle Higgins is uniquely prepared for the school's many dangers. She may be without allies, but she possesses a dark power strong enough to level mountains and wipe out untold millions. Never mind easily destroy the countless monsters that prowl the school. Except she might accidentally kill all the other students too. So Elle is trying her hardest not to use it. That is, unless she has no other choice. Sounds so interesting, and I like the
Sounds good.
Scholarmance. I like it.
Yeah, nice.
I'm excited.
Nice.
There's like
Much excitement.
there's pictures in the back as well.
Oh, dope. Thank you for telling me,
so
because I would
good.
not have found that till the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, there's like dormitory rooms and stuff that are
That's cool.
in the back.
Dope,
But yeah,
dope.
Dormitory room.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
I guess
so
that's
that's
it.
exciting.
And it's on my channel next month, isn't it? Yeah.
Mhm.
Over
you,
this bad
baby.
boy.
Or you.
Yes.
Oh, I'm excited to read this. It better be good.
Phenomenal.
Come
Is that a bird
on.
screaming? Is that a bird?
Yeah, he does that. He does. And unless I go out and yell at him, he's not going to stop. And I don't want to get up, so
Mhm.
sorry. I assume we're
That's
ending
so
it soon
fair.
anyway, so he'll
Yeah.
stop when I
Yeah.
when I
Yeah,
start
yeah.
talking. He also wants to hang out.
Yeah.
God
And
forbid.
at
Chill.
least we know if Deadly Education isn't good, the next book has to be good.
Oh,
See,
yeah,
that one,
hopefully.
I'm more nervous for that one because of the hype.
Oh, yeah, true.
I don't know.
Mm.
That author has a good track record for all of us.
Yeah, agreed. But it's the hype for this one that has turned me off. Normally, I'm all for it. It's literally how much I've seen of saturated of this book that I'm just kind of like, what if I hate it?
Go in thinking that, and then you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, just have no expectations.
I feel like Jacob's just popped in.
Yeah, I don't know what Jacob
happening?
is.
Sorry, come here. Come tell the tea.
I thought you were
Tell the
telling
tea
us.
what
I'm
you
like,
just
wait, yeah.
discovered. Sorry, you're the one live, so there's more
Hi,
people than
Jacob.
just these guys.
Hello, Jacob.
So Logan Paul just released a video.
No, that's not what
No,
we're
no,
going to
no,
lead
no,
with.
no.
We don't condone Logan Paul in this
And
house.
he's like getting into Pokemon cards. And I was like,
You had
we
one
have-
chance. You had one job.
And I was like, we have a whole set of Pokemon cards.
We
Yeah, we
the
collectively.
that we brought together.
So Kira's grandma saved all of her Pokemon cards and put them in a binder. And she had them until, 4 years ago?
I still have them.
Shit. I've got them downstairs.
Oh, yeah,
so
don't.
your nonna had them
Okay.
until about 4 years ago, and she
Yeah.
gave them to us. And just because of Logan Paul's video, I was looking at the value of the cards, and I found 2 rare cards, one first edition and one like holo, whatever.
Rochelle's gonna love this.
And so far, it's about $3,000.
Yes,
Whoa.
I'm rich.
You're rich.
I'm rich. Okay,
Sorry.
Sitting on a gold mine.
Okay, that's if they're like good quality or whatever.
bye now. This was fun.
Anyway, keep that off because you're so loud.
Anyway, that's the last time you'll see him on my channel. I'm rich now, so I don't need him. Anyway,
Hi, Jacob.
that was fun.
My favorite is when I go over and I just end up talking to Jake about Dungeons and Dragons, and Piara stands in the corner and is just like, "Oh, why?"
Ugh.
And it's my favorite thing to upset
Why am
Piara
I alive?
because I love you.
Anyway, this was fun. Let's do it again sometime.
All right, cool. Yeah, if no one else has anything else they wanted to chime in with, I think we'll wrap up this discussion. Of This Is How You Lose the Time War. Thank you all for joining us today. And like we mentioned, our next live show will be on Pierra's channel to discuss A Deadly Education at the end of October, whatever the last weekend of October is. It's a date. It has one. I just don't know what it is. Anyway.
We will let you know.
We'll let you know.
We will send it out on socials.
Indeed.
Fare thee well.
Bye.
Bye.